All right. Hello, TLAfrica family. Thanks for listening in. My name is Jennifer. I am the U.S. Communications Director for TLAfrica, and I have the pleasure of introducing you to Ivan Chung. He is our new Vice President of International Mobilization and Student Development. That's a lot of traveling around. You've covered uh, East Coast, West Coast of the United States. You've mentioned Hong Kong, Brazil. Um, that's quite a lot of culture that I'm sure gives you a lot of experience in taking on a role as international mobilization and student development. Can you talk a little bit how that experience is going to be carried through in your position now?
Yeah, thanks, Jennifer. So one of the things I did at Biola was try to transform missions into something that would be conversant across non-faith-based and cross-cultural lines. So I try to transform as many as I could into study abroad, education abroad, and service learning type of courses. So I would mentor our students that way. And so I was more interested in transformation of the students, exchange students back and forth across cultures. And so I taught my not only taught my classes that way, but I really wanted Bila to understand um, how to understand missions from a more broader perspective, um, not only in the realm of evangelism, but really if we are all fully called by Christ, we are in full-time ministry no matter what we do, and in any field, in any discipline. And so while Biola talks a lot about integration with biblical courses with every field, we want to see ministry in the same way. And that involves anything cross-cultural. To me, if we are, I'm getting myself into some shaky ground here, but any endeavor that we do cross-culturally from the culture that we grew up in really is missional. And so I'm trying to help our students understand that, and it involved not only students from abroad, but also and students are able to integrate a lot of our diversity, equity, inclusion type of initiatives with our global students and with our teams. And don't know how much it caught on, but I continue to do that here in Hong Kong, pioneering student affairs, because there's no such thing as student affairs. There's no such thing as a field of student affairs in all of Asia. I'm based on the literature, and this is not a boast, but I really am the only native English speaker um, doing student affairs fieldwork in Asia, because there's nobody else actually doing actual student affairs work, because it's considered an administrative unit here in Asia. So the the role of of psychology and interculture and ethnic relations and education, that kind of combination, and those non-specialized interdisciplinary fields are not existent. It's not very existent in all of Asia, especially in Hong Kong. And therefore, I'm developing this here. And I don't know how successful I've been doing that, but I've done it here in Hong Kong, and to continue that in Africa as well, because we are integrating many things like theology and community development skills. And I cannot wait to work with our students from Africa. And I cannot wait to mobilize different teams around the world. So that's kind of my learning background, if you will, throughout my years at Biola in Hong Kong, and in different ministries in the U.S. And that's what brings me to Africa. And I hope that these skills, I think, all these will culminate in something great, I hope, for TLAfrica.
Yeah.
How would you define your role now within TL Africa and how that all of that is incorporated into it? I mean,
Yeah, we want to. I think we want to communicate TLAfrica in similar ways um, around the world, and in different ways around the world, based on the context and what people are really interested in. I think if we're calling this holistic transformative education, that's what we've been calling it at TLAfrica for some time now. If we're calling it that, something for everybody, um, because it's holistic, right? And so it could involve issues of financial management, helping students and communities figure out how to microfinance, as well as earn money, build new skills, build new friendships and relationships, make money the currency of relationships. That's really exciting with our women empowerment groups, pastoral trainings. It could be part of theological and biblical trainings of our clergy people
mhm,
in Africa, and that will be changing as well. It could be part of youth entrepreneurship, because really the majority of Rwandans and Africans are youth, and they will no doubt have to create new businesses, etc. We want to develop faith and non-faith ecosystems that work well in the workplace, and for students to worship together, and other youth to worship together and be mentored in different trades, as well as how to integrate how to integrate the Monday through Saturday with Sunday, if you
mhm,
will. And also, so there's something for everybody, and there's higher education. There's the relationship with the government. So and then there's agriculture and farming and AI and eco psychologies and other things that will come up as well. So that's what I love, because if it's going to be holistic, then we have to keep on adding new layers to serve each other, to lead
mhm,
each other. And so, how holistic is holistic? I think we can set the tone as to how holistic truly is holistic enough to transform communities. And that's what I'm excited about. And I think that's what the government officials thus far in Rwanda have also been excited about. And
yeah,
that's the uniqueness of this. Yeah.
Yeah.
what are some of the, or at least one of the biggest challenges that you see ahead of you, and how do you plan to attack that?
Yeah. Um, I don't know if I'll be attacking anything. I think I want to know our ambassadors and friends of TL Africa around the world well.
Mm,
We want to see how we want to communicate this, and the kind of circle of friends that we have that might be interested. Map them out, and see where are the resources God might be providing. If we're trying to see relationships as the key currency in what we do in Africa, then we want to do the same thing around the world.
mhm,
That's the main principle. And the strategy is through our ambassadors, and this may be virtual offices around the world. This may become a circle of communities around the world, places that not only Faustin and I could visit, but also develop people and towards these kinds of ministries. And we got to think of the new Thousand Hills International University as housing all these different kinds of ministries. And uh, yeah, sorry about that. I was totally talking about I don't know what. So
well, the last that we heard on this end was talking about having different offices for TL Africa around the world, and that THIU should really be seen as housing. So that was where you cut off.
oh, so we should see it as housing these different ministries, and then centralizing them, but then quickly decentralizing so that our women communities can operate in different countries, in different communities, and our pastors can continue to do great ministry in different countries, and our students can go back after their modular courses, apply what they've learned, and same with us. And we can look at TL Africa friendships around the world in quite the same way.
Mhm.
And so that was my main point there. So hopefully, I know that I'll be writing a lot to different foundations and different donors who might be willing and to partner with us. But I think if we want to keep these the relationships as the main currency in Africa, the way we've been doing, that's a great vision to have, even in our fundraising. Although I know that my role will go, go beyond that as well.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else that you would like to share with the TLAfrica family as we wrap our interview up?
Yeah, I've said a lot in just a couple questions, but one of our ambassadors, I think it was Brian, Pastor Brian, Minister Brian from the UK. I think it was him who mentioned yesterday to me on WhatsApp that and I don't think he minds me sharing this, which is he can't wait to begin this Antioch movement out of Africa, and what that means in reference to Acts 11 and 13, is that we can be a really strong sending and gathering place, a place where many nations can meet to get training, to understand, to receive teaching, as well as to teach others. Um, and so we hope this really mutual cycle, an equitable cycle of teaching, learning, understanding, mentorship, discipleship can take place. And there is no, according to the Holy Spirit, there is no division between the secular and sacred. And so there's overlap everywhere. And so we want to, in fact, exploit that overlap, if you will, while really servicing and leading each other in our communities. I can't wait for this to become even more African in its emergence, in its forms, in its incarnations, in its context, and to allow Africa to benefit the rest of the world, because that's what happened in Antioch. And I hope that that can really take shape as we talk. And so I'm already meeting with ambassadors, our TLAfrica ambassadors around the world. I already have a schedule set for several of us when I return from the Lausanne Congress next week or 2 weeks from now. And so I'm really excited to take on this role even more as I transition out of my university and into this new university. So yeah, I hope that this develops all of us mightily in both faith and in our journeys with the Lord and with each other, that we can see something different, and we can really bequeath it to others when it's time, both in the U.S. and everywhere around the world. So cannot wait for this to take more shape in coming months.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again for joining us tonight or this morning for you. And I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to introduce you to the rest of the family.